Well, it's official. Canyon has killed off the rim brake. On the new Ultimate bike, there is no rim brake option. It's 6 feet under. The dirt's put on top and it's out for the count. And for guys like me who are rim brake lovers, it's a moment to shed a tear. So let's roll our intro and let's have a bit of a talk about really why Canyon has done this and do we really blame them for doing it? Well, the first and biggest thing that Canyon would have done here, they would have had to look at the cost profile of making a rim brake bike and a disc brake bike. And when you have a monocoque chassis, you have to make a mold to put it in. And the molds are around about $30,000 or $40,000 US. So you need to have a mold for every size. So if you've got 6 sizes, say, that's 6 molds. And if you want to make a rim brake bike, you've got to make another 6 molds. So that's 6 plus 12 times 40,000 is twice as much as if you're just making the disc brake model. So from a cost point of view, you can't really blame Canyon from doing this. And how many rim brake bikes are they really selling? And that's what they need to look at. So they're probably saying, hey, look, maybe rim brakes are only 15% of the market of what we're selling, ... They look at their figures and they go, nah, this is just not viable. It's not a business proposition. Most people are buying disc brakes. That's what the distributors are asking for. That's what we're delivering. There's no point making that bike for the 20% or the small amount of percentages that want rim brakes, because a lot of businesses run by the 80-20 rule. Now, the next thing is really the business pressure. Now, when you've got the group sets now are dialing back rim brakes, they're not offering rim brakes like Shimano, are not offering rim brakes on the Ultegra and the Durace models, then at a top-end bike for a company like Canyon, you go, well, even if we built the frame and we offered rim brakes, then what are we going to put on it? Like, we haven't really got a Shimano product to fit to that bike. So what are we going to use? You're probably going to have to use Campagnoli. Haven't got a contract with them, so forth. They're a bit more expensive. It's going to make our price of our bike more. We're kind of an online budget type brand. This is going to be the label cost compared to the disc brake. It's going to work out dearer. We've got different group sets. We're not getting as much buying power. So this doesn't make any business sense. And even though we may be emotional about our bikes and we want to buy into that, hey, look, I'm riding this beautiful carbon bike with the latest gear and I've paid a fortune for it. Well, as far as you look at it from a business side of view, it's just not as viable for these companies to continue making the rim brake bikes, especially when there's not even the components out there, probably from their biggest contractor, which would be Shimano, because they sell it as a complete bike. They then will have to go to a different manufacturer to source that specific product for the rim brakes. And a lot of times that creates a higher cost, because the buying power of saying, hey, look, we want 80,000 units for the disc brake bikes and we're only buying 20,000 units for the rim brake bikes, so we have to pay more because we're not buying as many. And when you get into manufacturing and big companies, buying in big numbers gives you much, much better prices. In fact, some of these websites even say if you buy 5, 10, 50, 500, the price comes down, and they actually advertise that openly. Can we blame Canyon for this? Well, the answer is no, you can't. And even if you say, yeah, the market's pushing disc brakes, which they are, the manufacturers do want to have disc brakes, and there's a number of reasons why they want to have disc brakes and move to disc brakes, because they don't want to offer both products. Plus also they had some issues with the clinches overheating because of the rim brakes, the carbon clinches. And also they've invested into this technology. They've been, they've a number of years they've been developing, investing into it, and they know the rims are investing into it, the group sets are investing into it. They're going, hey, look, it's just not a viable business proposition for us. So we're going to kill it off. And now is the time to do it because the group set manufacturers aren't offering it either. So it's a sad day, but they're really trying hard to kill off the rim brakes. Now, I did post on my community tab a video of Graham Aubrey. Now, this was in the 90s, and this man really had no money. All he had was his own talent and his hands. And he became the fastest man on the planet over an hour on a bicycle. And he did it on a homemade bike with a bottom bracket that he got from a washing machine. And that bike was actually tested in a wind tunnel, I think it's about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And it still was as fast, if not faster, than the latest triathlon bikes that we have today. So it really goes to show that even though he wasn't sponsored, he didn't have access to the latest carbon composites and new materials, and he didn't have the marketing and the sponsorship. He just did something basically at his local bike shop and knocked up a bike. Obviously, his attention to detail would have been absolutely spot on. He became the fastest man on the planet on that bike, and the bike was called Old Faithful. And unfortunately, the UCI didn't like the technique he was using with that bike, and ultimately it got banned. But it just goes to show that we had a bike that was developed in the 90s that really is just as fast as anything they can make today. And it makes you raise an eyebrow when the marketing continues to say that we have these constant improvements on our bicycles. Well, anyway, guys, go check that out. It's a very interesting documentary, and it's a bit of an eye-opener. And that is where I'm going to leave it, guys. And I'll see you in the next vid. Cheers.